Hi everybody and welcome back. This is Juan with Up Above Adventures, and today on the show I've got Ruben joining me.
Hey everybody, how you doing today?
What we're going to talk about today is some of the items that we're going to be using while trolling offshore for different species on like our 36-hour, 48-hour trip when we go offshore anywhere from 150, 170 miles offshore, and some of the different things that we're going to be trolling with behind the boat.
All right, Juan, what do you mean by trolling?
So trolling is when we're set at a specific speed and we're cruising at a very low speed, and we'll have a spread out behind the boat. And some of these items here on the table, some of these items hanging here off to the side are items that we're going to have in the spread. And to put it in perspective, we've got one boat moving forward with anywhere from 5 to 7, 9 different fishing lines all hanging out behind the boat.
So you're really going to be bringing in quite a disturbance on the water surface.
Correct. It's a feeding frenzy. We provide that illusion of everybody's eating. Why am I not part of this buffet? Let me swim up to the top and get a big bite out of something. Hopefully he bites one of the ones that have a hook in them, right? Because that means we can bring it back in. If he were to bite something like this, right? So these are teasers. These go off the side of the boat, controlled by electric reels that are up in the top, in the fly bridge of the boat, controlled by the captain, and he sets the distance, how far forward or back he runs. These are 100% to get attention. This is pure flash.
Now I notice mine is a little different than yours.
So yeah, yours is a different type head on it. It's flat with no jets. I have a concave head with jets. So the difference is how it looks, right? And what we're trying to create is an illusion of the feeding frenzy. Everybody's lining up to eat. Why am I not getting some? So we want to make it look like there's a party going on. Come join us.
Right, and a lot of it is based on fish's preference.
Preference.
The fish may prefer be feeding more aggressive, so it may go after something that's going to cause more disturbance
versus something a little smoother.
Right, or they may want something a little smoother and less disturbance. So you're offering that variety to the fish so you can see what's going on, so you can sink into what the bite is doing. Correct,
because as we all know, the water temperature, the clarity, the current, all of that plays into how lethargic or how quick the fish are like, hey, let's get after it, or they're kind of like a real slow, sluggish bite, right? So we like to present different things across the spectrum, and because it is a troll, we have so many things hanging out off the back of the boat, we can provide that whole gamut of different things. So like I said, these are teasers, no hooks in them, just pure attention getters, right? In addition to that, we'd also run stuff like this, right? So this one right here, it's called an islander. These are weighted heads, and this is gonna dip down in and out of the water, and it's gonna be popping in and out. Nice big hook, and we'd hang a ballyhoo off the back here and rig them up. Sometimes we run multiple hooks on the ballyhoo, that we've got one up in the front and one kind of chasing it. That's a different style of islander, different head type.
So the ballyhoo's gonna be dead bait.
Correct.
Dead fish.
Dead fish that we've got salted prior to getting it hooked up on here, and then we're gonna get it all set up. And different colors, different weights of the heads, different types of heads. These are both kind of tapered and kind of weighted, but some of these are completely hollow, so it kind of flutters around at the top of the water, versus these are kind of dipped down a little bit because they have a little bit more weight to them. This is what you would do some dead bait with. Something like this, the Offshore Candy is what these are called. And this is, again, a different style of presenting that wow factor. Look at all the colors on this. This thing going through the water, that one's a little bit bigger head. There's also different jets cut out in the head. And again, attention. They're just, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Now we have different colors. Why is it important to have different color? What's the difference in color variation?
There's always folktale, right? Oh, the pink ones are gonna hit every time. No, I only run blue. I'm a red guy, right? It's kind of like flavors of the ice cream. You go to Baskin Robbins, they got more than just vanilla and chocolate.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing with this. We like to present different options for the fish, and because we have such a big spread that we run behind the boat, we don't want to run 5 of these, right? We're gonna run one of these, one of those, one of these guys, all different things that can provide a wide spread for the fish to choose from.
Again, you're trying to dial into the bite.
Correct.
So that's why it's good to have a nice, good variation of colors.
Correct, and I've got a whole bunch of different colors, different head types, different sizes. Again, here we go from small to the bigger ones, the aluminum heads, the different colored heads, It's just all variance, right? And you just gotta go with what the water's doing, the current, and what you're seeing work for you on these trips.
And what do we have here in front of us?
This one right here, this big green guy kind of spread out across the whole table, starts over here and works its way through. This is what they call a daisy chain, right? So this has got multiple squids, no hooks in here. It's got the little bird here. So this guy's going through the water, flapping back and forth, and we've got multiple of these terminating with the squid at the back with the beads and where he wanted him to bite. So these are, again, trying to make it look at me, and then he's like, oh, look at this one. Boom, there's the bite. These lures right here, we normally run in the shotgun formation, meaning the furthest back off the spread. So we'll have stuff off to each side. We'll run stuff off the corners, and then we run this one right here, the green one, all the way back off the shotgun, off the top of the boat, the top outrigger, giving it the cleanest water, so to speak, to run in. All the other ones are going to be running in different portions of the prop wash of the boat.
Now you were talking about current. How important is current when you are swimming your lures, or you're trolling your lures through the water?
The current is huge, because just like anywhere else that you fish, if the water is completely stagnant and there's no movement, well, there's no fish movement because they're not feeding, right? But when you have the fish moving around and popping up and chasing the bait, that's when there's going to be the most amount of action.
So you did mention targeting species. So what species of fish would you actually target with some of this setup, with the rigs that we have going on?
So the spread, the way we normally run it, it can attract billfish like, marlin, sailfish, tuna, mahi-mahi. Those are just some of the species that are attracted by this, right? And that's what you do when you set up that troll. You just have it all nice and spread, and you're just trying to create that attention, and boom, here comes a nice one. Unfortunately, there's other species that we're not particularly targeting that'll also hit it, right? And those are like barracuda and stuff like that. Those will come out and chase the spread and bite into it because they're hungry as well. Not a species we're gonna keep, not a species that we're targeting, but they'll hit it as well. Unfortunately, those barracudas and sometimes the shark, depending on what's going on, and we could have a nice fish and we're reeling it in nice and easy, bringing it in, nice tension all the way through. Boom, all of a sudden, hey, it got really light. What's happening? Did I lose it? And you end up with just a head that you bring to the boat.
You get taxed by the tax man.
The tax man's always out there.
Yes, sir. Now, when you do have this spread, how many lines will you have in the water? How many hooks do you have in the water at one time?
It just depending on the conditions and what we can all run, but anywhere from 5 to 8. We can run stuff off the corners, off the back. We can run a short one off the middle, another one off the shotgun, multiples off of each side. So that spread can just grow. And again, the conditions have to be right. The current has to be right, because if you run too many and then they're not positioning properly and you have to run them at a higher speed or whatever may vary, it's just very, very condition dependent on what we can run.
And you're really trying to bring as much disturbance on the water surface as possible, because you're fishing. What's your water depth you're fishing at?
Several hundred feet.
Yeah.
And from there on, sometimes we're in 1,000 feet of water and we're trying to bring up fish that are a couple hundred feet deep. When we get far enough out, 150, 180 miles offshore, we got to work to get them up, because they're not hanging up.
You really have to draw that bite in.
And they have to get kind of looking up, going, hey, that looks kind of tasty. I think I want to try that, and bring them up, and we'll have multiple passes around areas that we know have produced fish for us in the past.
Let's say somebody's new to troll fishing, right? Is that called troll fishing?
Trolling.
Mm-hmm. What color combinations are typically go-to?
That's the beautiful thing, that you don't have to worry about it. You show up, we take care of it all for you. Because we've got the captains with the experience, the years of know-how. This isn't stuff that you're like, I think I'm gonna run this one today, I'm feeling lucky. There's lots of science that goes into it, and you may think, well, it's just kind of the lucky color to choose the green one or the blue one. There's a lot of science that goes into it, looking at the water condition, the water clarity. Again, the current plays a huge factor. And just getting out there and you're kind of looking, going, hey, this is looking pretty good, let's run this, this, and this. And then you troll that for a while and see how it works, how the fish are reacting to it. And if they're not reacting and they're not being, hey, we like that, it's time to change it up. That's the reason we've got everything set up to quickly change from one to the other. The poles that we run are very resilient and very strong, because Like I try to tell people, when you're trolling, it's kind of like a jack in the box. You don't know what you're cranking, but you don't know what it is.
Might not be the target species.
It may not be the target species, but it may be something really big, and you're thinking we're gonna go for something small, because you don't know what we're going for. So you have to gear up and be ready for whatever Mother Nature throws at you. And to do that, we have the Tiagra 80 wides, we have the Tiagra 50 wides. Some are on, like what you have there is a 50, and that's on a straight butt rod. This right here is an 80, and it's on a bent butt rod. And it's just different positions that we can put it in different places on the boat. Like those 50s would probably run off of our rocket launcher up in the center of the boat. These would probably run out toward the corners because they have the bent butt, just makes it easier to work with them. Plus just where we put different items in the spread, like that lure that you got there in your hand. That's a teaser. That lure right there in your hand, that's a big guy. We don't want that on a small pole. We want that on a big pole, because whatever eats that is gonna be a big fish.
So
right?
what is it, now, there's a big difference in size reels right here. So
this is an 80, that's a 50, correct.
So this reel right here, based on power, right? So this is, you're gearing towards targeting more towards bigger game fish.
The marlins, the big sailfish, but a big tuna. But you can bring in a small one with this, it's just gonna be really easy, right? Just like you could bring in a big marlin with something like that, it's just gonna take a little bit more finesse.
More finesse.
And more being gentle with it, but keeping tight pressure, tight line at all times. And that's what's beautiful with our crew, having the experience that they have. They're gonna walk you through this. Not too long ago, we had a 12-year-old kid boat a marlin to the boat, got the leader, touched it, and it was a 12-year-old kid. First time he had ever gone offshore fishing. It was grandfather, the father, and the grandkids. All of them were out there fishing, having a good time, and they were just taking turns. Hey, I'm up next. And he's like, gets ready, he gets in the chair, he goes, all right, whatever hits next is my turn. And what was it? A marlin.
Awesome. What an awesome
And
deal.
he had that size reel, one of these rods, one of these reels.
Yes.
45-minute fight.
Yes.
And his dad was there with him. I was there helping hold the rod. And he's cranking with both hands, cranking with the right hand, cranking with the left hand, cranking with both hands. He wasn't letting up, right? So, 12 years old. Anybody can do it.
Right.
And it was just an experience. You know, he was in total awe. The grandfather, the father, they're like, well, it's going to be hard to top this trip, huh? Well, when are we coming back? And he's like,
Fish of a lifetime.
Fish of a lifetime.
Fish of a
First time ever saltwater fishing. Fished his whole life in creeks and rivers and lakes and ponds. Never offshore. First time he goes offshore, gets the fish that people fish for years to try to catch.
Right. Bucket list fish.
Yes.
Awesome. And on a smaller
versus
that reel's on board.
Yeah, that's
but
not a
he
small
caught
reel
it
by
on
any
this one.
means, but
No,
yeah,
no,
he caught it with that.
Right.
That exact same setup. This rod, that reel, and probably about a 400 or 500 pound marlin. You know, just awesome experience for the kid, and he's hooked, so to speak.
Yes,
we got
absolutely.
him hooked. All right, guys, and that's going to wrap it up for today on the show.
Don't forget to head over to upaboveadventures.com. Check them out today. They have blogs they post, testimonials, reviews you can read from. Hit up Juan and the team over there and book you a trip and get on some fish with them.
Guys, remember to follow us on social media, and love to see you and hear from you soon.